All right, I'm joined by the great Solomon Wilcots, of course, longtime NFL player, NFL analyst, reporter, a great player in his own right. Now, I'm watching last week, and people think I'm crazy because I'm not your former Bengal. I'm not a Bengal fan. I'm not a Chiefs fan or Chiefs hater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you throw a flag on the late hit. Okay. And here's my logic why.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one. I forget which one of the. I think it was Joe Mixon was clearly out of bounds on a previous drive for the Bengals. There was a obvious late hit on the Chiefs. Wasn't called.
Of course not.
There was one where Burrow was back and he threw the football and I think it was Clark had probably like 3 steps and then he just popped him. You know,
Sure did.
Nothing vicious.
Nope.
Okay, but it's like game of that magnitude. You let some of that stuff go.
Yeah.
Now you got the biggest play of the game. He didn't launch at his knees. He didn't hit him in the helmet.
Nope.
It wasn't a late hit.
It
was a push.
Yeah.
And then a flop out of bounds. Am I crazy to think like that's one of those where as a ref you got to know time and score and judge intent. He was just trying to make sure he got out of bounds, keep it in your pocket. Is that crazy?
Yeah, it's really tough because he did hit him and he did hit him out of bounds significantly. If you're a Chiefs fan and you're Patrick Mahomes, he's your quarterback and he's already hobbled, right?
Right.
So I think maybe under those circumstances you want it thrown. But I think if you're a Bengals fan, you're like, look, that was an effort play. Like he was hustling to get over. There was no intent to harm or hurt. I just believe that as an official, you just got to live in the moment. He did hit him out of bounds. So I don't have the big problem with that. What I do have on the same play, 2 holding calls.
Right.
And that was clear as day, Doug.
Right.
So think if the officials do their job, you got 2 holding penalties. Maybe you have a unnecessary roughness out of bounds. Of course, offsetting penalties.
Yeah.
Play the down over. At 8 seconds left, you're too far away to kick the field goal. We're in overtime. Is anyone going to complain in that scenario? No. And it's the right thing to do.
Right.
That would have been the right thing to do.
It's the idea of you'll have a Chiefs fan that'll say, hey, you got to make that call. Like, okay, if it's an obvious penalty to you, then pick up hold.
The 2 holding, there was 2 holding calls on the same play.
One of the 2 are obvious.
Yeah, obvious.
I brought up that, and you know this way better than I do, in the Super Bowl, they generally don't call anything, right? That's
until the end of the game. And then they start trying to figure out, okay, but you're right.
But
for the most part, they let them play.
Right, they don't do it because of the magnitude of the game. And then again, you're in that same situation. All right, nonetheless, we have the 2 teams here. Mm-hmm. You've seen this. You've studied this thing a long time. Of all of the runs or things that Mahomes has done, this one to me strikes as the most impressive because he didn't have a lot that he's working with. Just doesn't. Like Tyreek Hill bailed them out time and again.
Yes.
And now you're down to receivers that no one expects to be on the active roster. Mm-hmm. Give me your thoughts as a guy who played in this league, has analyzed this league forever, when you're seeing Pat Mahomes at this stage in his career consistently get to this level.
I'm seeing growth. I'm seeing improvement for a guy who, remember, started his first season as a starter with over 5,000 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, this incredible MVP season in his first year as a starter. But he's gotten better each and every year because of what you just described. He's had to do it differently. He's had to do it now without Tyreek Hill. And so what we're seeing now is a more mature Patrick Mahomes, a more patient Patrick Mahomes. If you're not giving him the deep ball, unlike last year when he was frustrated at times, right, and still tried to force it, like in the AFC Championship game down the field, to Tyreek Hill, and it gets tipped. Von Bell gets the interception. He's not doing that this year. He's taking the check down. What that's meant, 7 receiving touchdowns down the stretch for Jerick McKinnon, right, to keep the chains moving, to be more productive down inside the red zone. Obviously, Travis Kelce has continued to be that. But what we've seen is the production transition from up top and down the field of Tyreek Hill to more underneath and killing defenses like every little small cut, 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts. And it's in the form of Jerick McKinnon and, and some of the other guys, Isaiah Pacheco. That's what it's really been about. So the quarterback has gotten better, and he's still about to win another MVP award.
Pacheco runs hard. Does he run harder than anybody in the league?
Reminds me of my guy Bieniemy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's who EB was. When, EB had a little bit more girth, but that's who EB was when he, was third in the Heisman Trophy voting. that kind of guy, refused to go down. But to me, that's what Eric brings to this team. He coaches that gives this team this kind of blue-collar physicality that we always didn't associate with Andy Reid type teams. Let's be honest. Eric Bieniemy becomes the offensive coordinator. Now this team is explosive. It's still creative, all the things that Andy Reid's offenses are known for. But when it's time to roll up the sleeve and get physical, they can do that.
Why has their relationship been so weird, right? Like last year, the contract expired. There was talk of him not coming back. This year, right before the AFC Championship game, there's talk of him interviewing for other offensive coordinator jobs as well as for the Colts job. It seems like there's a weird relationship there.
No, listen, I think all of the other coordinators, it happened so quickly where they were already gone. For whatever reason, and you and I know how our league is, slow to grow in this area. For whatever reason, Eric Bieniemy has to look a certain part. He's got to have a certain haircut, right? He's got to just, for whatever reason, he doesn't fit their model for what maybe an NFL head coach looks like. Short in stature, really broad shoulders. He's got my skin complexion. We think of it as a beautiful complexion, by the way. But for whatever reason, he's one of these guys that it was said to me by one reporter that one owner said he doesn't look like us. Well, of course not. Why? What does that mean? What he does, he coaches like a winner, which should be the only criteria we're talking about.
Nick Sirianni, he's a lot. I mean, I think
he's a lot.
He's a lot, right? Like, dude, you got a really good team, and they're really well coached. But the bravado on the sideline, do guys love that? Do guys like that?
Look, I think when we talk about what we saw against Indianapolis, like, is that kind of what you're?
Well, that and there's other audio of him, just.
I think standing up for his guy Frank Reich, I think the players like that about him. I think you and I know what the first interview for him, like, he didn't get off to the great start.
No, it was bad.
I know, right? But I think he's kind of shown himself as a dude. I think his players like his swagger. I think he's shown himself to be a little bit different than what we initially thought. And if we had to make a decision upon our what we first saw, it would not have been good. But over the course of time, he's kind of evolved. I think he's more comfortable in the role. And I think
he's like a WWE character over there sometimes.
But it's what his players think about him.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
I always come back to that.
That's true. It's totally true. The only thing that matters is what the guys in the locker room think.
And those
guys are buying,
then that's it.
Then it's working.
That's right.
Their style of offense, obviously Jalen Hurts has been incredible in it.
Yes.
And they jump on you quickly, but it's a style. Shane Steichen has used a lot of college kind of run schemes with Jalen, which catches people off guard. They get a big lead, and you play from ahead, which is the best way to play. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the second halves, people start to slowly figure it out. Now, no one's better out of a bye than Andy Reid, but you're always preparing for. Most of the offense are either Shanahan style offense, or or McVay and what those teams are doing, or some kind of West Coast,
something more traditional.
How hard is it to adjust in a week or so, week and a half of prep for what the Eagles do? And they also have dynamic weapons in doing it.
This is a defense they're used to playing against, the Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
So two teams that run.
Ravens are a good example.
Quarterback designed runs, right? RPO systems, because that's really where Jalen Hurts has been so effective in the RPO game. And I think it's a great question raised by you, Doug. How do you defend it? Listen, if you talk to defensive coaches or defensive players, you know what they're going to tell you. The way that we are taught since we first played football, before I can carry out my assignment on defense, I got to decide one or two things. Is it a run or is it a pass? Before I get to go rush the quarterback, before I get to do all these other things, I got to be able to.
The problem is it's both.
And that's the thing.
And the problem is it's 11 when the quarterback runs, it's 11 on 11 instead of 10 on 11.
That's right. And it puts you in this state of flux where you're trying to read. But while you're trying to read, the receiver's getting open down the field. A lineman is climbing to the next level, blocking your linebackers. The linemen are climbing it up on you so quick. So defensively, what you got to do is take the guesswork out, man. You've got to slant, you got to come down hard, and you got to blow this thing up at what we call the mesh point. The quarterback is sticking the ball into the belly of the back while he's trying to read, do I give it to him? Do I pull it? Do I throw it? And no, you take all of that decision out of it. That's exactly what The Baltimore Ravens did. Remember Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, when a guy by the name of Colin Kaepernick. And I remember Ray telling me all week, Solomon, he want to play running back? We're going to make him play running back. Yeah. We're going to blow it up. That's a pretty good Ray Lewis. That's how Ray Lewis was.
That's a pretty good Ray Lewis right there.
To me, if you're at Kansas City, that's how you've got to play this.
Do they have the personnel for that?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, these guys are physical up front on the defensive line. To me, it's about being physical against the run.
Yeah.
Don't let the Eagles fool you. They come in wanting to run the ball.
Oh, yeah, no question.
They come in wanting to leverage the run game to do everything else. So you have to take away the thing they want to do the most, and that means you've got to be penetrating and you got to be attacking. Don't allow yourself to get in that read and react. Let me see if he's going to pitch you to keep it. While he's making that decision, I'm hitting somebody's in the mouth.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing.
You get on your heels. Last thing, Brady said he's going to start broadcasting next year. Right?
Yeah,
you made that transition.
Absolutely.
Obviously, his is going to be much more fine-tooth comb because of who he is.
Yes, no doubt.
And the level of if Tom was to call you up and said, "Give me some bullets on how you would transition," what would it be?
Yeah. First of all, I would tell him get used to looking at the game more broadly. Still see it as a quarterback, but tell me what's going on from a management perspective. How do they manage the game? When we talk about division of labor, what players are you going to use to get the ball down the field, Tom? And if you see this offense and what they're doing defensively, what are some of the more preferred options of what you need to do? We need to be able to see the game from a big picture, but then at moments microscopically see it on a more granular level to be more specific. We need to be able to turn it around and be able to see it from the defensive side. I never played quarterback, but I studied. I talked to so many quarterbacks about what all went into getting the play call. What were your first reads? Where were your eyes going? So being able to share those stories with fans, that's what they want. I think it elevates the game, as you well know, to a much more higher level. Mm-hmm. And then this is Tom Brady talking, man. This is the burning bush. For crying out loud. Does it get any better than that?
I can't believe he's not going to do anything in the Super Bowl on Sunday. I find it hard to believe that Fox won't use him on only guys played in 10-1.